In part 2 today, Jeff opens up a journey to fatherhood after infertility and how redefining what it means to be a dad changed everything. He's sharing practices that helped him stay emotionally present with his boys and how you can start responding instead of reacting to tough parenting moments. Welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. I'm Kendra Nielsen, wife, mom, and licensed therapist. Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still exhausted and empty? Did you think life, marriage, and parenting would be simpler and more rewarding? Sometimes you just want to crawl back into bed and lose yourself in screen time and chocolate, rather than face that personal or family stress. You are not alone. This podcast helps you break free of the rat race and build a richer, more meaningful life, flourishing incrementally and realistically, improving your mental health and wellness, and living with deeper purpose beyond the mundane, no matter where you are in life's journey. You mentioned at one point being present. A good dad is being present and a great dad is being intentional. A lot of my clients, that's one that comes up over and over, dads and mom. And it's really hard to be present, especially if you have work you're dealing with, if you have multiple children, just the chaos. Like we know as parents, right? How do you help your clients when they are struggling? They feel like, I don't even know how to be present. I try and it lasts for 30 seconds. I don't know what to do to clear the clutter. Do you have any insights and thoughts, especially through interviews?
One of the things that I've noticed in particular is this idea of being present feels overwhelming because they think I have to be present for 2 consecutive hours while my son or daughter wants a tea party. And it's like, no. Let's focus. Can we do 10 minutes being completely present? Put your phone in the other room. Just say for 10 minutes, I am going to live in my child's world. That seems to make a difference because this idea that this is still going and I don't know when the end of this is and I'm already thinking about this work email and what I got to do. But if we put parameters around it, like just 10 minutes and then take a break, much shorter your hardcore work time where you're like, I'm going to focus on this document for 45 minutes, focus for 10 minutes. Then take a little break if you need to, and then come back. Our kids are super satisfied with spending that time with us. You can go back. With my boys, interesting too, because I've been doing a lot of research and reading around making sure that they do have times when it's unstructured play and that daddy isn't the center of the attention or mommy isn't. When there are days I don't feel I can be present with them for more than a 30-minute block. Remind myself that's perfect because I want them to struggle and figure this out because I am not here to build like the happiest child. I'm here to build a resilient child who feels purposeful. That helps me a lot when I need to go do something else, and it's okay.
Yeah, we have overcorrected based on what our parents were doing. So maybe they were more on the neglectful spectrum, depending on our culture and our family. But now sometimes we're helicopter parenting and can be too attentive. So I appreciate you speaking about resiliency and giving ourselves compassion. We're not asking parents to be fully present all the time and just creating these little entitled kids that think that they deserve everybody's attention all the time. But instead, no, it's important for them to be bored, learn to entertain themselves, but you can break it up in increments. Even with a college student, I am still practicing this. I often have brain clutter that I'm trying to manage. Like, okay, I can do small increments of time. And then when I don't, I can repair. Never feeling like I'm completely nailing it, but I am still trying, reminding them of that and apologizing for falling short. I appreciate you speaking to that. Also, I wanted to ask a little bit about the brotherhood. This is something I don't think that's talked about enough, that gap, not talking to others, feeling alone. You mentioned a support group, which I love. I wish more people would do that. Such a great resource. How do other people do that? If dads or moms are feeling alone, any ideas for them?
Let me tell you how it's not working. I'll talk to dads And they'll say, I have a dad's group and we meet up and we're just superficial. We're just talking about sports or work. I'm envious when my wife and other moms get together. They're talking about challenges they're facing as moms. The people in my program, when I'm running these group programs, they're like, I love this because it is always vulnerable and deep. I'm facilitating it. They're being forced into conversations about challenges or worries around their kids. The natural inclination doesn't seem to be that when they're meeting up. I'm having a dad's night with 4 or 5 dads. In many conversations I've had, they're going out with dads, but they're not having the types of conversations around their kids that is occupying their worry, their brain, their energy. How do we change that in those settings? Hopefully dads listening will have the courage to bring up something worrying them around other dads rather than just talk about something superficial and ask for advice and help. So far, my experience is that happens easier in a facilitated context, which is the work that I do.
Yeah, I agree with you because I have a great, for example, book club, and we did this for a while. It's easy to get sidetracked by other conversations. What really helps is that deeper connection, that vulnerability, asking for it, getting help, and having it be more intentional in that connection.
Mm-hmm. If that can't happen in a group setting, seeking out your own fatherhood mentor is not easy because most role models are dads from our childhood didn't father in the way that we are looking to father. But there are plenty out there that did, and there are plenty out there that do now that have kids 3, 4, 5, 10 years older than yours. Finding one to have deep conversations with if you're more comfortable being vulnerable one-on-one is absolutely what you can do.
That was the other part I was going to go to about the gap. That role model part, it is really difficult to find good role models. Like, I still don't think I have very many. And it's hard to find a mentor. How can we find better role models? Like dads that are more engaged. Do you have tips for listeners that are like, I'm stuck. I don't think there are any mentors around me in my family or in my group around me.
My short instinctual answer is there are. And you just need to look in a few different places. Often the dad who is taking the time to be the coach of the soccer team or the baseball team is invested in being a different type of parent. And you can observe whether or not that's true by how he's dealing with all the kids on the soccer team. But also online, I interview dads from all over on the Ambitious Dads podcast who are incredible dads, feeling challenged and vulnerable about what they're trying to get better at. And you can find them through my work. You can find them in a lot of the projects being done right now for men in general, not even fathers, the ones trying to be more vulnerable. I think there's a lot there that you can lean into as a man, as a father, to have conversations around the things that are really difficult. It's not as easy as it was when I'm going through my infertility issues a decade ago. I had to go on infertility websites for moms to find other dads, the wives who connected me with their husbands. I had to have a conversation with someone in another country. And I remember in the UK, because I just couldn't find enough people to talk about what I was going through in the US. It takes effort, but if you really want that, what I hope people know is that it feels good to share when you're struggling with something, particularly around the thing that you care most about in the world. And for, I think, 99.9% of us dads, it's our children. Having that conversation is worth tracking down that role model to engage with.
I'm reaching out to colleagues and other people to say, okay, this is what I'm looking for in a mentor or support group, asking people you care about or admire, and then continuing to put in that effort to intentionally find what you're looking for. It does require work, but if this were our career or something else, we'd be more likely to engage in that. But when it comes to our personal life, do our daily actions reflect that? Like, how much time and attention are we giving those things?
The men will have so much courage to find a network in their field from a career perspective. If you can do that in a work setting, you can do it in a personal setting. You just have to make that effort. If you look me up on LinkedIn, there are also other men on LinkedIn that have put like fatherhood and the focus of fatherhood. Reach out if you can't find them in your immediate community. there are people that want to be supportive.
Definitely. And because I like stories, Jeff, if you wouldn't mind, tell me if you need a minute. But looking back on the last year, and especially with these gaps you're talking about, which one do you feel like you've been giving more time and attention to improving in your own life?
I would say because it's the new year, it's the legacy gap. I was thinking for the last couple of weeks, because the way the holidays were this year, there's a lot more time off for the kids. It's like, how do I want to see my boys grow in the next year? What are the areas that I'm thinking about? My oldest, for instance, he doesn't want to try any new sports. After a lot of conversation, I got to the bottom of it. There was no trauma. It was an 8-year-old vision. He thought getting exhausted and being tired meant something was wrong and he was bad at sports, rather than understanding that his body needed to feel uncomfortable to grow and be better at sports. That's one example. My youngest, there's an area of his emotional regulation I want him to work on. Thinking about these areas, about being intentional, then it hit me, is this about them growing or me growing? How do I have to grow as a dad? What do I have to create in our house so these become easier and more possible for them? I put effort into that. I'll give you an example of how I've done this. For me, it's important. I've learned a lot in my work as a leadership expert, the power of gratitudes and having a gratitude practice that really helps people be more resilient and positive. So I bought a stencil for the wall, sticker that's also permanent that goes as wallpaper. It was a big stencil of a colorful tree, and I called it the gratitude tree. I put it in our dining room on the wall, much to my wife's chagrin. And I said, this is our gratitude tree. Every night we're going to write our gratitudes on the sticky note that I bought, these sticky notes that are in the shape of leaves, and we're going to put it on the tree. And the whole point was, the new default was like, we see this tree every time we are eating in the dining room. We see it. And so an intention and a reflection, so many of my ideas in the past, it would be great and last for a day or two, but that's it. I built this default in because you can't avoid it. We really have for over a year now done gratitudes almost every night because I created a default system in the house. When I'm thinking about how I wanted my kids to grow, I realized that's only 10%. What do I need to do as a dad? Like, how do I need to grow to enable that? And with my son, I work out when he's at school. I need to change that. I need to work out when he's back. I need to invite him to work out with me. There are different ways it becomes about me, not about him. See how that can move the needle in a way that's more, has more longevity, more possibility for success. That's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dork.
No, because you're intentional and I love it. And that reminds me of something my husband would totally do. And I'd be like, really? In the dining room? But it's so beautiful, like what you're doing with intentionality. That New Year reminded me of one thing that I'm doing. I love journaling, so I can live more intentionally. And I kind of fell off in the fall with how busy things got. I started audio journaling. I transcribe all of these audio journals and I threw it into AI to clean it up a little bit so I could put it in my journal. And then I was like, well, it's already been AI, so my project after this call is to start asking, okay, what are those gaps? What can I do to improve in my parenting? What am I not seeing that I can, just like looking forward to that next year? You have all of this information, all of these tools and resources now. Maybe we all have blind spots. Some are more willing to see, others may not see them at all. But being willing to make those corrections, I recognize I want to be more grateful and teach my kids that. I want them to appreciate health and see me doing that. I do it really early. They're not awake when I work out. How much do they learn from my example? I don't know. So living more intentionally in that way, that leads to my last question too. And maybe it's something you've already mentioned. But what's something that you've done as a dad that's deepened your sense of fulfillment? Maybe it's the tree, maybe it's something else. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, it's something else. It's dancing. A couple of years ago, I went on this retreat that involved a lot of dancing, of getting out of our heads and really getting into like what they would say, like your animal instinct and heart. It may sound foo-foo to some, but maybe it's exercising. For me, it was dancing. I don't think I'm a good dancer, but just going with music, letting go, dancing like a crazy person. I brought it home. We have little dance parties in the kitchen because I have an Alexa when I'm cooking. My youngest Alexa's super easy to use. So I'll be like, Alexa, play the dance songs playlist, and some song will come up. All three of us will be dancing our best and worst selves. I feel connected to me and to them. I couldn't go to a club and dance and not feel self-conscious, but I can dance in front of my 5 and 8-year-old and just feel free and happy. So I would say it's dancing.
Was not the answer expected, but I really appreciate it. So carefree. It reminds me of what kids do. There's not that self-consciousness, just being willing to be open and very present and modeling for them. It's okay to let go and be silly and playful together. It's a simple thing, but beautiful. I appreciate you speaking to these gaps, specifically to fathers. I haven't done that as much as I would like to. I love hearing that perspective more because fathers are actually my favorite client to work with. And I love it when they push back against that culture, get vulnerable, open, seek help, and want to go beyond successful in their field and different things, but intentionally improving as parents, as individuals. And you speaking to that is important to help fathers. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Jeff, if you wouldn't mind sharing, maybe people are listening, they're like, I need a support group. Where can they find you?
Yes, thank you for asking. Go to ambitiousdads.com where you can find everything that I've talked about. Also, listen to the Ambitious Dads podcast.
Okay, perfect. And it does seem like talking about all these gaps that this should be a book. Is that ever in the future for you?
Yes, but I'm in no rush.
Put your information in the show notes so they can reach out to you. Thank you for coming on the show. We hope this episode left you feeling empowered and more connected to what matters most. If there's a topic you'd love to explore, or you'd like a free coaching call that could become a podcast episode, email us at hello@fulfillmenttherapy.org. We'd love to hear from you and how we can support you in your journey towards greater fulfillment. And if you love this episode, share it with others that could benefit from it as well. We'll see you back here next Monday with new episodes. Until then. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this episode, a quick 30-second share can help someone else find support and help this podcast grow. Leaving a review on Apple Podcasts boosts visibility and keeps the show alive. Your simple acts make a big difference. I'll see you back here each week for more life-changing episodes.